Hey friends, it's Corey from Hey Let's Make Stuff. No, we are not doing a cooking show today. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to remove a UV DTF transfer from a glass can. If you watched my recent video on using UV DTF transfers, you'll know that that is one sticky adhesive. And if you get it wrong, you may think that you have ruined both your transfer and your blank. You're right about one thing, the transfer is going in the trash. However, most of the time, you can actually save that blank to be used in a different project. I spent some time testing the best way to remove these transfers, and I think what I have here works really well. So if you have a UV DTF project that you've messed up, you can use this method for getting that blank back so that you can use it again in another project. To remove that UV DTF transfer, you're going to need a few things. First of all, you're going to need whatever you've messed up. So I have a glass can here. I think this would work just fine if you have something like a plastic keychain. Basically anything that can tolerate being in nearly boiling water, you should be able to remove the transfer. I am going to remove the straw and the wood top here. We're not going to put those inside the water. Then you're going to need to boil a pot of water. So I have boiled this on my stove, hauled it out here to my craft room. It's not boiling, but it's still very, very hot. And into this, we're going to put a little bit of dish detergent. So I'm using Dawn, and that's because I know that it is a grease cutter. It's an adhesive cutter. I mean, it really will go through just about anything. Because this is not my first time actually trying to remove this transfer, my water already has some Dawn in it. So basically, I just dribbled some in and then used my tongs to sort of stir it around. You don't want to create like a ton of bubbles or anything like that, but you do want to get the dish detergent sort of evenly distributed throughout that water. Then, like I said, you're also going to need a pair of tongs. I find that that was the easiest way to get my cup in and out of the boiling water. You may also want some Goo Gone. So I found that I actually didn't need this step. However, there are differences between different brands of UV DTF. So if you are having some residue or just some stuff that's really stuck on there and you can't get off just using the water, then Goo Gone is going to be your best friend. If you're using Goo Gone, you'll want a microfiber cloth to use with it. You're also going to need some sort of scraper. So I have a couple of scrapers here. So I have my Cricut scraper, always trusty, works really well. And then with my order of Goo Gone, I got this little scraper and I love this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and link it down in the description. It's not necessary. I'm just surprised at how well it worked. I mean, I still have pieces from my last attempt on the back here, but I really like this little scraper. So if you're looking for something a little different, this can come with a bottle of Goo Gone. And then finally, you're going to want some paper towels. The first step is to soak. So like I said, we added a little bit of detergent to the water. I'm going to carefully put my cup in the water here. So I don't want it to float too badly and I don't want to burn myself. So I'm just going to let it fill up here and sort of just drop it in. Now, no matter what I did, even with more water, this floated just a bit because I couldn't really get the air out very well. So I'm going to let this soak for a full 10 minutes. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to rotate the whole thing and let it soak for another 10 minutes. So I'm going to turn the camera off here and I'll be back. All right, this has been soaking for about 10 minutes. So I am going to use my tongs here just to roll this over a little bit. Not the easiest thing to do. And I don't know if you can see this in the overhead, but this is already starting to come loose here. I can see it starting to pull up. So that's what you want. You can go ahead and let it soak for another 10 minutes. All right, this has been soaking a while. So let's see what we've got. Since it's a little hard to get it out of there, so obviously you don't want to break the glass. I've found that a pair of tongs works best, but be careful. So I don't know if you can see here, but I have a lot of warping, which is a good sign. You basically want to see that transfer coming off. So I'm going to grab my scraper. Again, I really like this little scraper here, and you'll just start scraping off that transfer. You can work your way all the way around, and depending on the brand of transfers that you are using, you may or may not have an easy time with this. I've seen other people really struggle, but I think soaking it a long time is the key. Soaking it for just a few minutes is going to be much harder. But soaking it for a good, 10, 15 minutes, I mean, heck, you could soak it overnight. It's glass. Nothing's going to happen to it. The first one I did, I had a little bit of trouble, but this one's coming off even easier. Oh, see, that one's a little tough right there. Get these off here. The nice thing about having a paper towel underneath is that you have a place to put all this crud. There we go. Just get it off and we'll work our way around. So I can tell right now this is being kind of a difficult spot. It's not peeling or anything. So I'm going to skip over it. I'm going to come back to it. Let's get these easier parts off. All right, I got most of it off, but in the overhead, you can see that I kind of back to this part on the back that was just a little bit more stuck. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to soak it again. My water is still quite warm. It's not quite boiling, but it's still warm enough to kind of work at it. I found this had the same problem in my last can that I was working on, but I did find that soaking it a second time worked really well. So I'm going to go ahead and put this basically face down into my hot water, and then I will soak it for another 10 or 15 minutes and come back and see if it scrapes off better. Okay, this one's been soaking a little bit longer, so let's go ahead and pull it out here. Let's see if that helped. Hit it with my scraper again. Yeah, that's much better. Sometimes I think it's just the amount of time that you soak it. The longer it is, the better it's going to be. Once you have the majority of the transfer off, you can throw away the paper towel that has all the little transfer pieces in it. And then you can use your other paper towel to sort of wipe it down. And this way you can see whether or not you have any residue. So there might be some residue left from that adhesive, and that is where you'll want to get the Goo Gone out. So thankfully, I don't actually think I have any residue on here, which is amazing. But if you do, the Goo Gone is probably the best solution. This has been like my go-to thing forever. I had to just buy a new bottle of it because I got to the bottom of my other bottle. But basically, you can put this on top of your microfiber cloth and then let it sit on top of the transfer. And it's basically going to eat its way through that adhesive. It's an adhesive remover. So if you are still struggling with some residue or some pieces that you just can't scrape off, the Goo Gone is your choice. Whether you are able to remove it using the scraper or if you had to go the Goo Gone route, I highly recommend you just put this in the dishwasher. That way you'll get any soap or Goo Gone residue off of it, and you'll have a nice clean cup so that you can start over with a fresh new project. I hope you found this video for removing a UV DTF transfer helpful. If you did find it helpful, I would appreciate a like. If you have any questions or if you're struggling, please leave me a comment. Follow my channel for more crafty content. I'll see you next time.